If they gonna get the money up to dig her body back up and have a real autopsy done on there, have a real investigation on there, who's it gonna hurt?
I didn't know Cassie, but I knew somebody who was going through the same thing she was going through, and that was Kim Porter.
Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death, and then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro.
Diddy was the one who set him up with the chick, you dig? So it's probably safe to say that Diddy, a whole lot of these people are sharing diseases and swapping bodily fluids because you have not heard a mention of a condom.
I don't think nobody in America thinks there's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think, a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
Gene Deal has raised a question that, in some narratives, is considered highly sensitive within the entertainment industry. If Kim Porter's body were ever exhumed, who might be impacted? Supporters of this theory speculate that her death may not have been solely due to pneumonia, as officially reported, but could have involved other factors that were not fully disclosed. From this perspective, they argue that describing it as a natural cause may have limited further investigation. Some versions of the claim also connect her case to broader allegations about control and misconduct within the industry, occasionally mentioning figures such as Cassie Ventura as part of a wider pattern. These interpretations suggest that key details may not have been fully transparent, and that questions remain in the minds of those who believe this theory. In this framing, her death is viewed by some not only as a personal loss, but as part of a larger and more complex narrative shaped by influence and power dynamics. However, it is important to emphasize that these claims are disputed, unverified, and remain part of ongoing speculation rather than established fact.
Kim Porter says she dumped Diddy.
I feel like
In a statement to the TV show The Insider, she says she decided to end what she calls her on-again, off-again relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. She says it was in the best interest of both them and their family.
I know Kim got tired. That's why she took that corkscrew and ripped his damn arm out. Tried to rip his arm off for putting his hands on. I know she was tired. Them pillow fights and that smothering her with the pillows and all that, like he playing with her. I know she.
Some older reports and retrospective accounts are sometimes interpreted within certain narratives as suggesting a recurring pattern in Kim Porter's relationship with Sean Combs. In this view, her relationship is described as involving periods where she appeared to distance herself, followed by returns that supporters of the theory believe may have been influenced by emotional, personal, or situational factors. Those who hold this perspective argue that the public only saw a limited version of what was happening behind the scenes, and that there may have been unseen pressures or complexities shaping those decisions. At the same time, these interpretations are not confirmed and should be treated cautiously, as they rely on speculation and inference rather than verified evidence.
Kim couldn't have nobody, bro. Kim couldn't have nobody. You understand what I'm saying, bro? Diddy could do whatever, Puff could do whatever he wanted to do, Brother Love could do whoever he wanted to be. If Kim ever tried to get with somebody, Puff would interfere with them or with her trying to be with them. He wasn't letting that happen. Unless he was bringing them to the picture. That's what he used Kim for, bro. He wanted to make a deal with somebody. He'll get another girl and a guy that he's trying to make a deal with, and him and Kim, they all party together. Man, he used Kim for that.
I'll be sure. Comments, as presented within this narrative, are often interpreted as conveying a serious and emotional undertone. They are taken by supporters of this perspective to imply that Kim Porter may have experienced significant physical and emotional fatigue after what is described as prolonged personal difficulty. In this reading, references to her being tired are seen as suggesting she may have reached a point of emotional exhaustion. The narrative frames her situation as part of an ongoing pattern rather than isolated events, with periods of separation followed by returns influenced by complex personal circumstances. It also suggests that the strain she experienced may not have been limited to physical challenges, but could have included emotional and psychological pressure as well. However, it is important to note that these interpretations are speculative and remain unverified, forming part of a broader controversial narrative rather than established fact.
You got to realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death. How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home or her friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that, and this is hearsay, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case needs to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation, shout out the paperwork, at the paperwork part. I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? And do we know whether she used that baby oil or not for that massage?
This version of the narrative introduces an alleged financial element to Kim Porter's situation, suggesting she may have been entangled not only in a personal relationship, but also in business-related arrangements that made separation more complicated. In this interpretation, she is portrayed as someone who may have experienced pressure, control, and dependency, which supporters of this view argue could have limited her ability to fully step away. The narrative frames her circumstances as involving a combination of emotional influence and financial reliance, which is presented as contributing to a sense of being trapped. It also claims that following her death, the handling of the investigation was not simply disorganized or flawed, but potentially managed in a way that restricted fuller examination of the facts. From this perspective, these surrounding claims are viewed as part of a larger pattern, though it is important to stress that these assertions are unverified and remain speculative rather than established evidence.
In the police report, that this is in the police report, that Dallas Austin's daughter, who was a friend of Kim's, left her house at 8 o'clock. That Kim had made a call, 911 call at 2:15 that morning. And I don't know what happened in the 911 call or what was said, but they said that Dallas Austin's daughter, according to Kim's father, was the woman that left her house at 8:15. So she was the last person, according to her, to see Kim alive.
Step by step, Gann presents what he describes as a broader conspiracy. He alleges that the coroner moved the body before detectives arrived and ruled out foul play without what he considers a fully comprehensive investigation. He also raises attention to details he views as unusual, such as claims of a massage occurring during a serious illness and the reported disappearance of electronic devices. In this framing, these events are interpreted not as isolated oversights, but as possible signs that evidence may have been altered, handled, or removed. The narrative suggests that influential individuals may have played a role in ensuring her death was classified as natural, limiting scrutiny of the official conclusion of pneumonia. It further points to the absence of certain witness statements as a concern, which supporters of this view interpret as potentially missing or omitted information in the official record.
Do you think Diddy killed Kim Porter?
Absolutely. I can say that without
Put the mic on,
hesitation.
put it on both of us for that. I need to know, do you think that Diddy killed Kim Porter?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because of all the videotapes, because of the book, because of all the people she gave copies of her book to, or at least chapters, because of everything that she had on him, because of the tape that she used to blackmail him into a relationship and into a raise of him being by Andre Harrell. And I am not saying that allegedly, because I heard her and Kim Noor talking about it in the booth of the bathroom while snorting cocaine at the Kit Kat Club.
Jean's remarks about Dallas Austin's daughter add another layer to this narrative. She is described as having been present around the time of Kim Porter's death, yet she has not publicly commented on the surrounding rumors or allegations. Within this framing, that silence is interpreted by some not simply as a personal choice to remain private, but as something that raises questions about possible hesitation or external pressures. Supporters of this view suggest that prolonged silence from someone believed to have close proximity to the events may lead to speculation about what they know or why they have chosen not to speak. The account also references figures within the entertainment industry, including Jaguar Wright, whose statements are presented as aligning with similar suspicions and adding weight to the idea that there may be more to the situation than the official explanation. However, these claims remain unverified and are based on interpretation rather than confirmed evidence.
I know a good few of the people that got a piece of that book. The truth is, Diddy was highly paranoid right before Kim passed away. And when he found out that her and Cassie were still secretly talking and meeting, it became a very explosive situation for everyone who knew about it. Lunch at the Ivy. I hate the fact that she felt so terrified to tell the truth about the man that she had 3 biological children with, that she felt the need to have to be as covert as she was. But I'm grateful that Kim got her truth to people that she trusted. Problem is she didn't know who she could trust and couldn't trust. None of us in the game ever really did. I have no doubt in my mind that pieces of that memoir have been acquired by the home team, and that bad actors were incorporated so that they could put just enough spin to create reasonable doubt in the jury pool. It's a smart.
This version of the narrative suggests that Sean Combs may have had a possible motive related to concerns that Kim Porter allegedly held sensitive information that could have led to serious legal consequences. It presents this idea as part of a broader interpretation shared by multiple alleged insiders who claim to have arrived at similar conclusions through separate sources. In this framing, that overlap is seen by supporters as adding credibility to the claims, even though no verifiable evidence has been established. The account also references Jaguar Wright, who is described as believing that certain forms of evidence may still exist despite Kim Porter's death, adding another layer of speculation to the narrative. However, these assertions remain unconfirmed and should be treated as rumor-based interpretations rather than proven fact.
Kim died from pneumonia, but there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas, and then next thing you know, you want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning, gone. Just him. I guess Al disappointed you. You know, I speak for a reason.
According to this narrative, portions of Kim Porter's alleged writings are said to still be held by individuals connected to Jaguar Wright. It also claims that prior to her death, Sean Combs had become increasingly concerned, as Kim Porter and Cassie Ventura were reportedly sharing accounts of similar personal experiences. The timing of these events is portrayed within this perspective as suspicious, coinciding with claims that Kim was documenting alleged patterns of mistreatment and comparing notes with others. Supporters of this interpretation view this overlap as more than coincidence, suggesting it could indicate that her passing interrupted the completion or release of further information. The narrative then builds toward what Jaguar Wright is described as presenting as her most significant claim, linking these elements together in a broader speculative framework.
Well, I know he poisoned Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact.
So, wait, you're saying that Diddy poisoned Jamie Foxx and that's how Jamie Foxx got sick?
Jamie Foxx reported this man to the FBI because of this. Facts.
Wow. Okay, and how did you hear about this, if you can tell me, or if you can't?
These people poison people, bro. I've been poisoned 3 times. Why am I testing positive for cyanide? You feel me? Why do I had pneumonia 3 times? So people like, man, why he breathe like that? Because I only got 1 lung. And then I had a car crash. I got 1 nostril permanently blocked. And I done had pneumonia 3 times. Somebody been trying to poison me. My brother got poisoned with me. The little lady I was bodyguarding, she got poisoned. Like, somebody is carrying on these antics. These is facts.
This narrative frames Kim Porter's death as part of a broader alleged pattern rather than a single isolated event, suggesting, within this perspective, that certain individuals may have died under circumstances supporters find suspicious or unusually consistent with natural causes. It presents this as part of a wider system, though this remains a speculative interpretation rather than an established conclusion. The account also references alleged statements attributed to Big Homie CC, which are interpreted by supporters as implying possible poisoning-related methods. From this viewpoint, such claims are extended to suggest a recurring pattern across different cases. However, it is important to emphasize that these assertions are unverified, disputed, and not supported by confirmed evidence or official findings.
More than a decade of being scrutinized and clowned by law enforcement, them telling me, you need some help. Trafficking, really? What's wrong with you? No way, but not realizing that they were also working for the situation.
Because you were hinting, saying,
Posting, I get calls, take it down or else, so on and so forth.
But this is about Diddy, so let's be clear for everybody that doesn't know.
Diddy, who's about to, his trial's about to start. Yeah,
yes.
They're selecting a jury.
But you were on this train years ago.
Yes, many, many years ago, I posted some information that was, basically trying to save my life. And thank goodness to my ex, the wonderful Kim Porter, the late Kim Porter, who, kind of warned me all along the way to, just kind of watch your back, so on and so forth. And I didn't understand why.
Because of Diddy.
Basically.
Do you believe that she died of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
Why? What evidence do you have?
She was in the best of health. We just saw each other prior to her passing. We were actually celebrating our son's new Netflix Christmas special, and she was doing just fine. In fact, we were all at the event together at Netflix in the lobby. Sean, myself, the children, all having a great time, and I'm, grabbing Sean like, what? And she's in the back going, stop, So it was a really festive opportunity just for all of us to be together, because it's nothing like the circus that's out here. So it was a lot of the stuff, came to surprise, but a lot of the stuff will be revealed and that's why I thought it would be a good idea to finally tell my story. Every network came to me, participating, so and so, but I said, listen, I have no interest in speaking about another man.
But you are in the book.
Yeah, right. But this, I will speak about where our paths cross and what's most relevant, and something I've been trying to say for many, many years.
Big Homie CC is presented in this narrative as adding what supporters describe as a crucial missing element, alleging that Sean Combs used a poisoning method that could be linked to Kim Porter's death and to other reported incidents described by various individuals. Within this perspective, it is also claimed that Big Homie CC later experienced symptoms he interprets as consistent with severe poisoning after attending certain events, and these accounts are framed as fitting into a broader alleged pattern connected to Kim Porter's reported illness. The narrative further introduces an emotional layer through Albie Shore, described as Kim's first love, who is said to have witnessed her difficulties in distancing herself and her attempts to speak about her experiences. Taken together, these elements are presented as reinforcing the emotional and dramatic tone of the broader story, though it is important to note that these claims remain unverified and are part of an ongoing, disputed narrative rather than established fact.
I don't think nobody in America thinks there's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think, a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bruh. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
Albie Shore. This account is presented within this narrative as another element used to support the broader set of claims. It alleges that Kim Porter once reached out to him for assistance in contacting authorities, expressing that she felt controlled and unable to leave her situation. The narrative also claims she was dealing with serious health issues at the time and that her concerns were not fully addressed. It further suggests that when he later attempted to speak publicly or document his perspective, he faced significant personal consequences, including claims of severe illness. It also notes that he has continued to speak out since recovering, despite ongoing controversy surrounding these statements. Gene Deal is then described as raising concerns about how the case was handled, particularly pointing to what he views as inconsistencies or gaps in the official process. Within this framing, questions about the autopsy and related documentation are emphasized as important details that, in his view, warranted more thorough examination. It should be noted that these claims remain disputed and are not supported by verified evidence, and are part of a broader speculative narrative rather than established fact.
He sent somebody through somebody else to try to get in contact with me, telling me enough is enough. Oh, okay. You tell Big Mama that enough is enough. You can't tell Wolf Mama enough is enough. You tell D. Ferg mom enough is enough. You understand? You tell all those people who supported you and they survivors enough is.
Gene Deal is again described in this narrative as raising concerns about what he calls a flawed or incomplete autopsy, emphasizing its significance to the overall case. Within this interpretation, it is suggested that a full and thorough post-mortem examination may not have been completed, or that aspects of it were left unresolved in a way that supporters believe could have obscured potential medical findings, such as complications or other contributing factors related to Kim Porter's death. The account frames these perceived gaps not as simple procedural mistakes, but as intentional omissions. It further suggests that, even in the context of later legal scrutiny or arrests being discussed, there may have been continued efforts, according to this perspective, to limit or control what information was made available. However, these claims remain speculative and unverified, and are not supported by confirmed evidence or official findings.
He actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? G.
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
This narrative claims that alleged efforts to silence or discourage witnesses continued even after Sean Combs' arrest, and it frames Kim Porter's death as a particularly sensitive and potentially consequential issue within the wider set of allegations surrounding him. Within this interpretation, it is suggested that the matter could carry more weight than the current legal charges because of what it is believed to imply about earlier events. The account describes the autopsy as a key piece of evidence that might have clarified the cause of death, but is instead portrayed as incomplete, withheld, or insufficiently transparent. It further suggests that it could have contained information related to serious medical conditions or other undisclosed factors. The narrative then shifts toward what it presents as a significant claim attributed to Jaguar Wright, linking Kim Porter's death to broader allegations about health concerns and long-term behavioral patterns. However, these statements remain unverified and are presented strictly as part of the narrative being summarized, not as established fact.
Young Miami is sleeping around with different guys, giving them AIDS.
Damn.
You know, and Future, Stephon Diggs is one of the people that got thrown out there. You know, she was with Diddy.
This narrative claims that Sean Combs has been the subject of allegations attributed to Jaguar Wright, including suggestions regarding his health status and the possibility that he may be HIV positive while managing it privately. It further states that she has referenced other individuals within the entertainment industry in relation to similar claims, though no evidence has been provided to support these assertions. Within this framing, the allegations are presented as extending beyond individual behavior and are described as part of a broader pattern of intentional harm affecting multiple people in the industry. However, it is important to emphasize that these claims are unverified, widely disputed, and remain part of rumor and speculation rather than established fact.
His wife, she revealed that he died of AIDS.
Man, you know, Craig has some like craters in his face. And then I had asked Kirk Burrows about that. Y'all say, yo, dude, man, what? All this y'all got the money and stuff like that? So he said he had a heart condition. So way back then, Craig was telling people he had a heart condition. So that's what people thought. I didn't know at that time that he had AIDS. I thought it was a heart condition. You understand? And then some years ago, I spoke to Roxy, and she confirmed that with me about the HIV and stuff. I wasn't gonna never say nothing about it, but I think she said something on a guy named Storm Monroe, his show, And she said something in and said something in the article and everything about that, but it's just crazy, man. That's wild. That's that lifestyle. You understand? That's that lifestyle, willing and ready to run up in anything. You understand? And these guys don't care. Any and everything that look good, that don't make it good. It is what it is.
This narrative further claims that Young Miami is being cited by some supporters as indirect evidence in relation to statements attributed to Jaguar Wright and suggests she may have been impacted by the same alleged circumstances. It frames these ideas as part of a broader chain of supposed connections within the entertainment industry, though no verifiable evidence is provided to support them. The account then reinterprets Kim Porter's death as something that was allegedly concealed to prevent exposure of serious wrongdoing, portraying it as part of a wider effort to protect influential figures and maintain the industry's public image. It also introduces claims involving Bad Boy Records, suggesting past illness-related deaths may have been concealed as part of a pattern. However, these assertions remain unverified, speculative, and are widely regarded as part of an unproven narrative rather than established fact.
Have a funeral, put in a gold casket. It takes, 2 months to get those gold caskets, had it within a week? Or you're a millionaire, I guess you can. You're a multi-millionaire, you can get it that quick. Then had somebody at the funeral home, had a bodyguard at the funeral home watching the dead body for 24 hours up until the...
This narrative claims that the same systems and structures it associates with Kim Porter's death were also involved in earlier incidents involving artists connected to Bad Boy Records. It suggests that certain label executives, including Kirk Burroughs, may have played a role in managing or concealing sensitive matters, although no supporting evidence is provided for these assertions. Within this framing, Kim Porter's death is presented as part of an alleged recurring pattern rather than an isolated event, implying that similar situations may have occurred previously within the industry. The account also interprets Sean Combs' actions following her death as suspicious, suggesting they may reflect efforts to control information or shape the surrounding narrative. However, these claims remain unverified, speculative, and are not supported by established facts or official findings. This version presents a timeline of events surrounding Kim Porter's death and interprets certain circumstances as suspicious, including references to unusual funeral arrangements, heightened security, and limited access to information. Within this narrative, these elements are framed not as standard procedures, but as possible indicators of an attempt to limit scrutiny or control the flow of information. It also draws comparisons to other historical cases, suggesting what it describes as a recurring pattern involving individuals connected to the entertainment industry and Bad Boy Records. The account then broadens into more serious allegations regarding concealed health issues and misconduct within the industry. Though these claims are unverified and highly contested, it concludes by suggesting that further independent investigation would be required to separate confirmed facts from speculation and clarify the circumstances described.